Well, I'll just run the filter and, you know.
Yeah, it'll get rid of it. That's whatever.
No, it's back. Give it to the quarterback. No, we got the running back. What?
Straight off the couch.
Here are the stories we're going to be chasing today.
Well, of course, we're going to be chasing down the Week 6 headlines, but before we get too far into the thing, let me call in my broadcast partner, the ever affable and effervescent Adam Weidel. Adam, how are you, brother?
I'm doing excellent. Always, a little depressed on Tuesdays after having a fun-filled weekend of the foosball.
It'll be okay. We'll get through it together.
Yeah, well, the nice thing is this Thursday is just around the corner, so the drought doesn't last very long.
Do you need a hug? Do I need to come up to Canada?
You're always welcome up in Canada. I think every Canadian would welcome you because that's just the Canadian thing to do.
Very polite. Yeah, the Canadian people are very polite, and they're very accepting. And I could stop. I've got 3 or 4 people I could stop and say hi to on the way. And
yeah, and come over for some, I don't know, we'll make something fun here, and we'll have some football and, maybe some brisket or something. Who knows?
Brisket, yeah. So let's just kick things off. So that the Thursday night game was it was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. It turned out to be a pretty good game. And as you like to point out, the Thursday night game kind of sets the tone for the rest of the weekend.
So this game, I thought it would be closer than it was, to be honest. And I hate that saying, to be honest, because what am I doing, lying?
Yeah, lie to me, bitch.
The beginning of the game was very close, but we saw problems with the defense. The Seahawks have a huge defensive problem, and they couldn't get their offense going.
No, if Geno Smith isn't hitting his receivers, it's a long outing for the Seattle Seahawks, for sure.
And just looking at it right now, just checking out the box score here, if it'll load. I don't know what's going on here. NFL.com just not cooperating. Everybody's trying to get their picks in, I guess. Yeah, we started off with a San Francisco field goal, and then they put up 13 more points in the second quarter, and then the Seahawks came back with a field goal. So it was 16-3 to end the half. And then, as we know, the Seahawks seem to be a very second half team. They put up 21 points in the second half of the game. 49ers still bested them there. They put up 20, but it was one of those games where it was just like, oh, I know I picked Seattle to win this one against the Niners, which, we shouldn't really go against the, Super Bowl runner-ups. But they're just struggling on so many levels, and then they somehow have the talent in the backup positions to pull off all these games. It's quite amazing.
That seems to be a reoccurring theme this season as well, is the low-scoring first half, high-scoring second half for a lot of teams. I've noticed that a lot with a lot of different. Like, how many times have we seen a 21-point lead at the half and it's gone? It's a one-score game at the end.
Or the reverse, where it's a very high-scoring first half and then there's barely any points in the second. So, yeah, it's very unbalanced first and second half football right now.
It really is. But, yeah, Niners did what they have to do, and like you said, they keep finding ways to succeed. Yes, Daisy.
Yeah, they know how to win. Now, that was a divisional game, so both those teams are 3-3 right now. Obviously, the Niners take the lead in the division because they have the win against the tie, right?
Right. And that brings us to our Sunday morning game. We had a Sunday morning early game, 8 o'clock my time in London, England, where the Chicago Football Bears hosted, according to the schedule, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jacksonville was never in this game.
The Bears did not disappoint, though. Wow. To be a team right now that started off really weak for the first 2 games of the season and now to be 4-2. 4-2, by the way, is a theme that I talked to Terry about over on the weekend. I said, I think we're going to see a lot of 4-2s by the end of this weekend. And sure enough, Bears are sitting at 4-2, completely dismantled the Jags, which isn't much to say.
See, and I've been here reading that because I'm a Bears fan, and I've been reading that from the Bears detractors. Well, who have they played? Okay, that's a fair point to make, but you have to beat those teams, and they have.
So this is really fun,
and they've done so. They've done so in most cases convincingly.
The first two games were a struggle. Rookie quarterback, new to pro football. I mean, he did very well at the college level. He's the first overall pick. The ceiling is set pretty high for this guy. They have huge expectations. They worked last year to get all the pieces in place. They got some, veteran talent. They also drafted really well. It had to come together at some point. So your team is actually doing really well. They are on bye this week, so you don't have to worry about a possible loss unless the bye week's going to kick their ass.
And Caleb's numbers have improved every week. There hasn't been a fall off yet, so let's see how long that trend can continue.
He's definitely developing, for sure.
And moving right along to our Sunday early slate of games, the Buccaneers put up a 50-burger on the Saints.
So that game was super interesting. I think the Saints were leading by 3 going into the half. Now, the Bucs put up 17 unanswered points in the first quarter, but then the Saints came back and put up 27 in the second quarter.
And that was without David Carr.
Yeah, so without Carr, they look good. The rookie Spencer Radler, cool name by the way. He didn't look bad.
So Baker, once again, sprinkles are on us. I've been sending out the Twitter stuff, DQ and sprinkles on Adam and I. Just let us know when you're going to be in the area, and we'll, they're on us.
Absolutely. Third quarter of that game, the points were kind of split, and then they put up 20 unanswered in the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
the Bucs just ran away with it.
Yeah. Baker he put on a clinic in that fourth quarter. So there's
another team that's 4-2 now.
Yep, and that brings us to another one. I'm going to skip the one on my the order I'm looking at here because I want to save that one for kind of later. Cardinals at Packers. I was hoping the Cardinals were going to put in more of an effort than they did, but they lost to the Packers 34-13. And the Cardinals were looking pretty good because they're in the same division as the Seahawks and Niners, and they were I think they were ahead of the division before this weekend.
Yeah, Packers came in and got the job done.
Yep.
And it's really funny. They're now 4-2 as well. Funny little thing. Those were have we looked at all the North teams, the NFC North teams, or was there?
No, we have not gotten to them yet. We're because one of them played last night, so we got to save or not.
Oh, that's right. We got to save that. But the Vikings and the Chiefs were both on bye, which I did not mind.
I didn't mind not seeing the Chiefs. Yeah, that's a fair point. That brings us to Colts Titans. I don't know what's going on in Tennessee right now.
Tight game.
Yeah, but
there was definitely a tight game. But once again, that ice cold Joe Flacco gets the job done.
And the Texans went into New England and just dismantled the Patriots.
So that one was really hard to watch. I knew it was probably going to more than likely happen. They started the number 3 overall draft pick, Drake May. They finally started him in the 6th game of the season. Jacoby Brissett was not doing it for them. They had 0 offense. They have probably one of the worst offensive lines in the league. But Drake put up 3 touchdowns. Yeah, he threw a pick. It was a bad pick. Went off a hand or something. It was deflected, so it wasn't like he threw it right at the guy. But he put up some serious numbers for first start as a rookie quarterback.
And the one early game I wanted to save this talk about last, for the early slate of games anyway, Commanders at Ravens was a really competitive game. That was a good football game.
Excellent football.
Yeah, they were both evenly matched. There was a lot of good offensive going on. Defenses showed up. It was a great game all the way around. That if you wanted to give somebody a primer on modern football, that was the game to point out to them.
Yeah, and we expected this game to be like that, especially after last week's episode. We spoke about Jaden Daniels and Lamar Jackson being similar style quarterbacks. Obviously, one's been MVP a few times, and the other one's the rookie sensation that has made the Commanders relevant again. Both those teams leave this week being 4-2, so things are really heating up all over the league.
As you pointed out, the Bears are on a bye, so when their first game back is against the Commanders, and it'll be the first and second overall picks going against one another, so that'll be a good game.
Should be super interesting because both these teams look like they have gotten past the rebuild mode. They've put their pieces in place, and they're playing competitive football.
Yep, and that brings us to Browns at Eagles. Ugh. What the hell is going on in Cleveland? By the way, there was a trade.
What's going on in Philadelphia?
By the way, there was a trade that happened from the Cleveland Browns. The well-dressed Amari Cooper went to Buffalo Bills earlier today.
So that's a good move for Amari Cooper because he's an excellent receiver, and Deshaun's just not. He's either overthrowing or underthrowing the ball. He can't hit a receiver for the life of him. And Josh Allen is a really great, accurate quarterback.
Yeah.
He just, like Amari, I hope you wear your bulletproof vest because some of those balls that are coming out of Josh Allen's hand are like just loaded.
Yeah, they look like they're on lasers. They're line drives. So yeah,
he's got a hard throw.
So, but then again, I mean, he came from Big Ben. Amari caught a lot from Big Ben, and Big Ben had a big arm, so he's a little used to it.
The Eagles were actually lucky to win this game. You know,
they kind of were. It almost got away from them.
Neither of those teams are really worth talking about. Eagles are 3-2, Browns 1-5. Sadly, I would have liked to see them be a little more competitive, considering how they ended their season last year. But you know, as we said, Flacco is now on the Colts, and getting wins there instead.
So that brings us to Chargers-Broncos. Chargers pull that one off. I'm not really surprised because the Broncos are struggling, but Bo Nix, he looks like he has potential to be a legitimate starter for the league. So
I had a feeling that the Chargers were going to pull this one off coming off the bye week, and the Broncos had a couple hot weeks in a row. So for the Chargers to say, okay, it stops here because it is a divisional game. You got to play your best against divisional opponents. There's only so many playoff spots.
Right. So, Steelers-Raiders, Justin Fields
not surprised.
Justin Fields is looking like the quarterback he should have been in Chicago, which brings being a Chicago fan, has me seriously questioning were they not using him properly, or was it just the total lack of an offensive line? But he's looking pretty good in Pittsburgh right now.
So this was a pretty stellar game on the Steelers' end. The most offensive points that I've seen them put up in a while, 32-13. Raiders, they have some work to do, and obviously news came down the wire today of a trade. We've got our Devontae Adams speculations are now over. He is going to the New York Jets for a third-round pick.
I don't know why anybody would want to go into that situation, though. I mean, Rodgers threw a receiver under the bus last night after the game.
Well,
we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
We'll get to that.
We'll get to that.
But Raiders are not looking like the team that you have to worry about.
And that brings us to Falcons at Panthers. That was kind of went the way we thought it would. However, the Panthers put up 20 points, so they didn't look terrible. But the Falcons won handily. Captain Kirk continues to play it.
Great way to end that game too, as well. So the way breakaway to have like a walk-off touchdown, and since there was like a minute 35 or something like that on the clock, he just downed himself at the 1 yard line so that they could run clock.
Yep. Just really smart heads-up football play.
Wasn't being selfish. That's a great way.
And the last of the 3 o'clock games, the Lions just dismantled the Cowboys. What the hell is going on in Dallas?
Oh my God. Dallas, let's say, how about them Cowboys? How about not? Jesus. I said last week that the Lions were going to eat some Cowboys, but I didn't think it was going to be like this.
It was a lambasting, man.
The Lions were getting so bored they were trying to throw touchdown passes to linebackers.
They were so far ahead. They were doing like triple flea flickers, like an end sweep reverse flea flicker.
Yeah, like was it 3 or 4? Like I saw that ball move like so many times. I'm like, what? Like what is going on?
And then there was the one flea flicker that was a screen pass. I've never seen a flea flicker as a screen pass. It's almost always a deep shot, and this was a screen. It's like, okay, we need to get a lot of stuff on tape because we're going to be playing a lot of playoff teams later, so let's go ahead and just get some tape out there.
I feel like that was a revenge game from last year because wasn't that the game that Dallas beat them because the lineman that caught the ball wasn't declared eligible? Wasn't that the game last year that they lost by like 2 points or something to the Cowboys?
All I know is that the Lions were the ones that knocked the Cowboys out of the playoffs, so...
Yeah, but like their regular season, I think what happened there was because that made them like, oh, what is it? They were gonna knot up the 1 seed, I think it was, and the Cowboys took that away from them.
Yeah,
for the undeclared linebacker.
You may be correct. That brings us to the Sunday night snooze fest. I was in bed before the third quarter.
I watched it all. You didn't miss anything.
Yeah, I kind of got that vibe. Bengals at Giants. Giants only scored 1 touchdown for the entire 4 quarters. If I'm not mistaken, that was their first touchdown at home in like 4 or 5 games.
I saw a stat on it the other day. They hadn't scored a touchdown in 21 games at home or something like that.
21 quarters. That's what 21 it was.
21 quarters.
Yeah, 21 quarters of football. That's what it was. Yeah. Daniel Jones, they gave him $16 million to do what? Park cars?
I don't know. Their defense is legit, but I mean, the Bengals are struggling too. Like this game, I mean, hopefully we'll start seeing some schedule flexing because we can't have this on Sunday Night Football.
Yes, their schedule flexing has already started. They've moved the Commanders to a 3:25 start.
Oh, they moved them to the late window?
Yes, so they're starting to flex schedules now. So we got that going for us.
I'm talking about primetime games. They need to start flexing some of these garbage teams out of the primetime spots. Like nobody wants to see like a 2-4 team go up against a 2-4 team.
No, they don't. Especially if one of those 2-4 teams is the New York Giants. I mean, they're just not fun to watch. They like I said, they have a decent defense, but it's not entertaining football. It's not an entertaining brand of football.
No, it was really easy to fall asleep, and I'm glad you went to bed. Of course, I have to, take one for the fans because science, and make sure that I pay attention to as much football as I possibly can. This was nothing to be excited about whatsoever. The Bengals looked flat. Now, hats off to the Giants defense. They did play an excellent game, but Giants have no offense.
No.
It just like everything about this game was a snooze fest. And there was a lot of flags in this game. And I mean, over the entire weekend, the Zebras were thirsty. They were throwing a lot of flags this weekend and over the silliest things too.
It got so bad that and even Joe Buck last night and Troy, they don't usually break bad on officiating very often unless they just say, I don't agree with that call. And that's kind of where they leave it. They don't really get into much more than that. Last night they were going, this is getting ridiculous, the amount of flags we're seeing tonight. So last night's game to close out the week was Bills at Jets. That was a more entertaining football game than I thought it was going to be.
Excellent game in the first half, for sure. Second half, not so much. But I saw a lot of questionable officiating.
Yeah, a lot of questionable.
Which bothered the hell out of me. Like 220 yards worth of penalties and flags.
Yes.
Just ridiculous. And both teams just shooting themselves in the foot because the personal fouls were off the charts.
I liked they picked up 3 or 4 flags too. And that just kind of, you could tell whichever team was driving and the flag had come out and all. There was no foul for intentional whatever, and they pick up the flag.
Yeah.
But it still spoils the momentum that they've built up,
So what I did not like about this game was the balance of the flags. So what happened was there was a clear pass interference in the end zone when the Jets were driving. And since the ball was tipped, they did not call pass interference. Okay, I get that. Ball's uncatchable, whatever.
Right.
But Shouldn't the guy be having a contact penalty or some sort of holding penalty? Like, he had him by the pads. The guy, there was no way the guy would be able to catch the ball regardless if it was tipped or not, just because he was restrained. But it's tipped, so therefore pass interference doesn't get called.
Yeah, it's negated.
And your commentators go, that is a great call because it's uncatchable. But then going the other way, the Bills are on a drive. Josh Allen throws it 15 feet to the sidelines. There was some contact. Nobody could catch it unless they were 20 feet tall and had like a great jump on them, because that ball was gone. It wasn't even going to land in the field of play. That's pass interference. I was like, okay, wait a minute.
Yeah, officiating is really uneven this year so far. I'm sure the league is talking to the officiating, going, "Hey, we got to be better about this. Got to be more consistent." But it's been so uneven. However, I enjoy watching Aaron Rodgers lose. I could watch Aaron Rodgers lose every game, and he had the one Hail Mary at the end of the half, and you're thinking, "Wow, that's pretty impressive." And then he underthrows his receiver in the fourth quarter with 8 seconds left, and makes the receiver dive for it, and then he goes on the post-game press conference and throws the receiver under the bus for not turning the right way on the route. I mean,
but he also shit on the refs too and said that personal foul that he took from the Bills lineman for the roughing the passer, because I guess they were saying full body weight on him. He said that wasn't a penalty. The other roughing the passer on the other side wasn't a penalty either. So I have to give him credit for that.
Yeah, he went back on the Pat McAfee show today. Last week he took the week off because of the whole firing of the head coach, and so he went back on there today, and they asked him about it, and Aaron's like, no, I have to do better, but the receiver could have been in the right place. And I'm like, dude.
I mean, he's not wrong. His receivers are kind of failing him. Although he did have probably the best game that I've seen him play in a Jets uniform last night.
That's a fair statement. He looked better in the Jets uniform last night than he has in this previous 4 games or 5 games. And the Jets had a whole bunch of differences going on, and the sideline where they're grabbing the coach before the half or before the whatever, and they get a couple comments from him. That coach for the Jets, the interim head coach, he added nothing to the conversation. That girl was trying so hard to get him to say something of merit, and he just, we're trying really hard. We're going to try to get them together. We're going to regroup. Yep, we're trying really hard. Going to come together. Going to regroup. Yep, trying really hard. Come together. Going to regroup.
Yeah, dude was Switzerland on that. He was.
Yeah.
I'm not giving anything away.
Yeah,
no, people are listening to this. I don't want to give my plans away.
It was pretty funny. Yeah. He's tapping on the window. Coach Blackwell is here.
Oh, is he here?
Ladies with an attitude, fellas that were in the mood. Don't just stand there, let's get to it. Strike a pose, there's nothing to it.
Oh, yes, it's fashion time with Coach Blackwell. Hi, Terry.
Coach Blackwell, how are you today? That's a fabulous outfit you're wearing today.
Oh, thank you. Not as white as some of the outfits I saw this weekend. Cardinals Colts go full white out, head to toe. What up? It's after Labor Day.
Hated it.
Now the Panthers, they were styling this week. Brand new uniform, never seen this one before. They're calling the color process blue, and they wore those blackout helmets.
That was actually a pretty good look. I liked that look.
AFC East this week, oh my God, they are the division to match down the runway. Patriots come back with their red throwbacks with the classic Pat Patriot helmet.
I give them the Z thumbs up.
Yes, girl. Jets come out with their Joe Namath style throwbacks. They were like 1970s Jets uniforms. Spicy.
Well, it's been that long since they've had a 3,000-yard passer, so...
The Bills come out and they shock everybody, and they come out with the double blue, the blue pants, the blue tops. White helmet still, but double blue. Look good.
You can never go wrong with blue.
I don't know, Terry, because the last uniform I'm going to pick on this week, the Titans, they came out in full navy head to toe.
Titans are doing
Now,
everything wrong, just in general this season. So.
Some of those lads were wearing pink shoes to support breast cancer research, but it wasn't working with that blue to blue.
It's breast cancer. Okay, I thought it was just supporting breast research, because I'm sure the league has been doing that for 40 years already.
I mean, I would wear pink every day if that was the case.
Well, Coach, thanks for showing up. Thanks for your input, as always. We'll see you next week.
All right, toodaloo.
Toodaloo. And that brings us to Thursday night football. We have Broncos at Saints. That's when they could have flexed. Here? That's when they could have flexed.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of thinking like the Amazon schedule is locked.
Maybe because that is a weird prep time thing.
Because they don't have another network that they can
switch
make deals with.
Right. So
like if CBS has a early and a late game, they can just flop the two games around.
I don't even know which way to call this, to be honest with you. I'm going to just throw a dart at the board and say Saints.
Oh wow. So I'm going to go Broncos then. You're going to say Saints. I'm going to say Broncos. Here's the thing. We have no clue what team we're going to get every week. The Saints, first two games of the season, they put up like almost a 50 burger.
Yeah, they put up 90 points in the first two games of the season, right?
Yeah, they were so heavy, and now it doesn't seem that they could put points up at all.
Yep, and I don't know if David Carr is going to be back or not. So we'll just have to throw the coin up in the air and see which way it falls on Thursday. Sunday morning at 8:30, we have the Patriots at the Jaguars in England. The Jaguars, they looked a little flat last week. I think they waited too long to fly over, but they stayed there this week, so they're going to be well rested for this game. But I'm
going to say somebody's going home 2-5.
But the Patriots, I mean, New England, it's not that far of a flight. It's not like the Seahawks going to England, So I don't know which way to go with this one either. I'm going to go ahead and pick the Jaguars just because I got the vibe.
I think the Jags win this game just because they have the acclimatization. What? They're acclimated. Let's just put it that way. I'm not going to come up with some brand new fancy word.
Acclimatized, I think, is the word.
Acclimatized?
Yeah.
Okay, so they've been in London for just over a week already. So they have all week to prep. New England probably flew out today, I'd imagine, to do practices and things like that, get used to the turf, get adjusted to the time change, that sort of thing.
Right.
Jags are already adjusted, so I think the Jags take this, but I'm hoping the Patriots just make the Jags a 1-6 team, to be honest, because the Jags have not given anybody anything to watch.
No, they haven't been very exciting this year at all. So that brings us to our early slate of games. The number one game I want to watch, Lions at Vikings. Vikings are undefeated so far this year, coming off a bye. The Lions are on a roll. So if you put a gun to my head and tell me I got to pick somebody, I'm thinking Dan Campbell's going to figure this one out.
I think this is a huge divisional game, and I think the Vikings can. I think this is a field goal game either way. I'm going to flip a coin on this one. With the Lions being down from that gruesome Aiden Hutchinson broken leg on the weekend, I don't think their pass rush is going to be as good. So I think this one could go either way. It's going to be a coin flip for me.
The next game we have is the Titans at Bills. I got to go Buffalo on that one. That one's kind of.
I don't know. I don't know how you beat Buffalo in Buffalo when you're just a garbage team right now. Like Will Levis is the best meme in the NFL right now.
Yeah, he's just awful. Brings us to Dolphins Colts. I think that one's going to go to the Colts.
Yeah, so Tua is still a couple weeks out by the sounds of it. And they haven't really answered their quarterback issue. Like the quarterback isn't gelling with the rest of the team.
No, he's not. There's no chemistry there. So that's why I'm.
They're also down. Dolphins are also down some key defensive players, and they are in Indy, and it's getting colder.
And Joe Flacco is looking right. He's looking like he's still ready to play and ready to start. So I'm going to go Colts there. We've got the Battle of the Birds. We have the Seahawks going into Atlanta for the Falcons. I'm going to be hard pressed to take anybody against the Falcons right now the way they're putting up points.
I think Kirko Chains is a much better quarterback than Geno at this point in the season.
Yep. Well, we got Texans at Packers. I'm going to go Texans there because I can't ever pick the Packers. But I think the Texans are a better football team, but not by much. The Packers are looking pretty solid again.
Yeah, so the Texans' record definitely reflects that they are the better football team, but the entire NFC North dictates that division is better than everybody else with the point differential.
Yeah. It's the NFC North is probably the NFC North and the NFC East are probably the two toughest divisions in football right now.
NFC North right now has number 1 to 4 in point differential, all on the plus side.
Yeah. That brings us to a little bit of a snooze fest. We have the Bengals going into Cleveland to play the Browns. How do you not pick the Bengals in this one?
Divisional game.
It's Ohio.
Bengals.
It's the battle for Ohio.
Yeah, so it's definitely a big game for both teams, but I think the Browns are in tank mode. They have a quarterback that they're paying a ton of money to that isn't doing anything, and they just dealt Amari Cooper to the Bills.
Yeah, there's nothing going on there. Last early window game we have is Eagles at Giants. That's a divisional matchup, but again, we saw the Giants this weekend late night in the primetime window. I'm moving right past all this.
I don't even care. I'm sorry if we have any Eagles or Giants fans that are listening to us, and please listen to us again. But you guys have to be feeling the same way as we do at this point. Both these teams are just, if they win, they're hanging on to it by a hair. There's no decisive competitive football with either of these teams. It just seems like a lucky strike at the end of the game that gives them the win.
I don't feel that they're going to do anything positive for the remainder of the season. That brings us to our late slate of games. We only have 3 late slate of games on Sunday. Raiders at Los Angeles. I'm going to go Los Angeles on that.
Yeah, so Raiders losing Devontae Adams. I mean, he didn't want to play there anyway, so he probably wasn't playing his best. Rams are still... I've seen the Rams suck. I've seen the Rams have an awful record, and the Rams always try to come out and play competitive football. That's one thing that I have to tip my hat to Sean McVay about.
They are always prepared to play, yes.
Their record doesn't reflect how well that team plays. Most of their games are losses by a field goal or less.
Yeah, they're a competitive football team no matter who they play. We have the Panthers going to Washington. I don't see that.
I give this to the Commanders 100%.
Yeah, let them hit the ground running. And then the last late game we have Sunday afternoon could be a good one. Depends on whether the rest want Kansas City to win or the 49ers. But the Kansas City Chiefs go into San Francisco.
This is going to be a hard one to pick. Okay, so I can't really go against the Chiefs and the refs at this point, but they are going into the Bay. And the 49ers have shown they can put up a lot more points than the Chiefs this year, by the way.
And they're just
Chiefs'
so,
defense is really good.
But the Niners are just so resilient. They just put a gun.
This
in my
one's
hand.
a coin flip. This one's a coin flip because we both watched the Super Bowl, and
that was a very competitive and went down to the last quarter. So, our late slate of games, Sunday night football, we have the Jets going into the Steelers. I'm going to go Pittsburgh.
Of course you are. You know what? I don't think I can go. Are they going to Pittsburgh?
Yes, they're in Pittsburgh.
Oh, I take the Steelers 100% then. I can't go against the Steelers at this point in the season.
And we have the Ravens at Buccaneers on Monday Night Football or the Chargers at
we got
Cardinals.
doubleheader.
We got a doubleheader. This is one of those rare occasions where Troy and Joe decided they want the early game because they want that Ravens Buccaneers. It's a
really late start for the second game too, though.
It's 8:00. Yeah. It's Ravens at Buccaneers. I think Buccaneers being at home could have some say in that, but not the way the Ravens are playing right now. I think Baker might.
It's tough, right? So it's the battle of the 4-2s. Both these teams are trying to make a statement. They're trying to put their stamp on their division.
I'm going to say Buccaneers, but I don't feel really confident. I wouldn't be surprised if the Ravens pull that out.
All right, I'll take Ravens just to even it out. One of us has to win. Because this is a coin flip for me. I see the Ravens getting really, really hot right now, but the Bucs look so good. So it's, interconference battle.
Yeah,
they don't see each other very often, like once every 4 years. So I'll say Ravens just for the sake of, it could go either way. One team could absolutely smash the other, or it could be like a competitive divisional game. Who knows? We don't know what we get till we get there.
And then the last game of this coming week, Chargers at Cardinals. Jim Harbaugh's got the Chargers playing pretty good football. With the exception of this past week against the Packers, the Cardinals have been playing really good football too. I'm going to go ahead and pick the Chargers on that one, I think, because they're working on the ground game and establishing that. And if you take away the Cardinals' ability for that passing game, make them one-dimensional, it's only passing. I think the Chargers are going to pin their ears back, and Khalil Mack's going to feast.
And they also have a Bosa on that team, which makes a huge difference.
They do. The Bosas do seem to show up for the primetime stuff, don't they?
But they also have a running toddler and probably one of the best rookie receivers in the league. But I think one of them might be not feeling so hot. So I'm going to go Chargers on this one too, just because I do not have any faith in the Cards at this point. They're a 2-4 team. Chargers are 3-2. They've had a bye week already. But Chargers are trying to get into that race for their division, and they got to stack up. They got to stack up some wins to even touch Kansas City.
I think Harbaugh knows that division's going to go to Kansas City, so he's going to put forth the best effort and try and make a wild card bid. Is what I think is going on there. He knows he can't.
Yeah, if they can upset them twice, that's another thing too.
Yeah, that's true. Well, that's it. That about does it for us, Adam.
Yeah. So just a couple housekeeping notes. We had a couple trades. We saw Amari Cooper move on from the Browns to the Bills. We saw Devontae Adams move on from the Raiders to the Jets. We saw Aiden Hutchinson break his leg, so he'll be out for the season. That's the best edge rusher in the league right now.
As soon as I saw that, I knew it was a fib-tib deal, the way his leg was dangling.
Yeah, tibia's broken, so and we're going to have more and more injuries as the season goes on because, football's a tough sport.
So where can the boys and girls find us at, Adam?
They can catch us on the Book of the Faces. We're actually putting up more and more stuff all the time on there, just because, during game time, some of the greatest memes come out. But find us at Straight Off the Couch on Facebook. You can also check out our Linktree, Straight Off the Couch. If you know how to get to Linktree, you can just type in a / Straight Off the Couch. All our podcast outlets are available there, plus our social media platforms. If you want to reach me personally, you can hit me up on the X or Twitter, and that's Adam Off the Couch. Or you can just find me on my couch. Where can they get you, Terry?
You can find me at the Twitters or at the X or whatever it is, the Elon Musk social media platform. At TREMUP. Boys and girls, if you want to chuckle, I highly recommend Stephen A. Smith's Cowboys Top 5 Reasons Why the Cowboys Suck tirade he put up today.
Oh, how about them Cowboys?
That was really entertaining. So for my broadcast partner, the ever affable and effervescent Adam Whitehall, be safe, God bless, football, everybody.
Have a week.